Okay, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and this is going to be a book review of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Kind of rhymes. Okay, so what I have to say about this book before we even start is that I was on Goodreads and I was looking at reviews, even of like my booktube friend reviews, and people either love this book or absolutely hate this book. I feel like there's no like happy in between. People either like it or don't. I fall on that spectrum as a lover, not a hater. So yes, I love this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I think it actually deserves it. I loved this book. So what I liked most about this book actually was the main character, Selena, and I loved her so much. I know this is one of the biggest things with some of the people that didn't like the book. They didn't like Selena, but I loved her so much. But I loved her so much, it was actually kind of ridiculous. She goes from assassin of basically her region, like the main go-to assassin. She is the most well-known assassin. She's the best at what she does, to being captured, enslaved, and tortured for a year in the mines, to competing to be the king's champion. In like the time span of like 2 years, she's gone through a ridiculously amount of just horrible things happening to her. I never thought I would like an assassin so much because technically she's what? The bad guy? She's the bad guy, right? But like she kills people. But I appreciated almost everything about her so much that I can't dislike her. And in my mind, she's the good person. She's arrogant, yes, because she knows she's the best. Her name is the most well-known in the region for being an assassin. She's told by everyone around her how she's the best. So like she knows it. She's not afraid to just like shy away from the fact that she's the best at what she does. It's like when you're an artist or a musician, like you know whether or not you're good or not. If you go to competitions and get first place every time, you know you're good. And she's not afraid to embrace that part of her, which is really unique in this genre. You see the female protagonist in a lot of YA fantasies like shy away from the fact that they're the strongest or the best and it's just annoying. Like embrace it, man, embrace it. Selena embraces it, and what can I say? I like that it's different. I also think it shows a lot of strength on her part that she's been enslaved and tortured for a whole year. She's malnourished and she's gross, I guess you could say. One scene at the beginning, she's on like a marble floor and like dirt is just like pouring off of her. She is skinny, she has no more muscle mass, and she has to basically build that all back up for this competition. But she still knows that she's capable of doing so. So even the fact that she was tortured, enslaved, she has an obnoxious amount of scars inside and outward, like on her back where she was whipped, and she still knows she's beautiful. Like she still knows that she's a pretty girl, and this is something you don't see in the genre, and I appreciated it so much. I know I've said that like 500 times, but I appreciated her character as a whole tremendously. Selena accepts her punishment when she is basically enslaved, when she is caught, but she doesn't let that cloud her vision of herself. And when she starts competing for the king's champion, I really would have loved to see her kick ass more. Like, you know, she's like this deadly assassin, and I would have liked to see more action in the book, more kick-ass scenes, because that's what she is, and that's what I wanted really bad, and that's the one thing I guess I didn't get enough of. You do get some of it in little snippets of it, but you don't get like a whole lot of it, and that is something I really would have liked. The main friendship in the book had me like oohing and eyeing at like a lot of different parts. She finds a friend, and it's another royal from another land, and like it was kind of realistic in the fact that they just kind of found each other in this just really weird predicament. Both of them are kind of doing stuff for themselves and their own country and their own freedom in their own way, and they kind of embrace that, and that's how their friendship kind of blooms, and it was beautiful. Through the whole book, I just wanted Selena to kick ass, win, become the king's champion, and gain her freedom. Like, I was rooting for her more than I've rooted for a protagonist in a book for a very long time. I wanted her to win. I was very invested in her storyline, if you cannot tell. I really just wanted her to find freedom and happiness. I wanted her to be happy, and this is the one thing you see Selena struggle with is her own happiness, what she has to do to gain her own freedom and happiness versus what is right and what is wrong. She's never had freedom. She hasn't had freedom since she was a little girl, and tragedy strikes her family, and so she goes from being trained as an assassin from the guy that found her to being enslaved to now having to literally fight for her freedom in a competition. And I wanted her to find her happiness. If it's one thing I really like, it's a protagonist, especially a female protagonist that's gone through a lot of stuff in her life, a lot of heartache, a lot of suffering, and still finds the strength to crack jokes, to be the life of the party, to win against all odds and find happiness. And that's really what I just wanted for Selena. So yeah, it's what I want. In this book, there is like this big like mystery concept, like something's going on but you're not really sure what's going on, and you follow it throughout the book and you're just really not sure. It's in here, and I found myself reading more and more just because I had to know what happened. Like I had to know. And I also binged the second book after I binged this book because I wanted more answers. I actually really liked the unknowns of the story. It kept me really intrigued. There was one night in particular, I was like, oh, one more chapter. And then like 250 pages later, I was like, oh my God, I should go to bed. But then I just finished the book. So yeah. So the unknowns kept me really intrigued and it kept me going. And this was a great binge read because you tell yourself one more chapter and then you're reading more than one chapter. You're reading like 18 chapters and you have no regrets. And I also really, really like the world building in this book. I think Sarah J. Maas did a fantastic job with that. There's just so many different places, so many different aspects, and it all comes together really, really beautifully. I know a lot of readers thought that there was a lot lacking, a lot of open plot holes, but this is a series, especially after reading book 2, that those plot holes are intentional. Sarah J. Maas does them on purpose because she answers them later. And I'm only just started book 3, but I know people that have started like books 4 and 5 or read them, that things are still happening that were questionable in book 1 that are being answered like 4 books down the road. And then you go, wow, I get it now. Like, I get why that happened. And like, that is so unique also. Usually you find a huge plot hole in the beginning of the book and then you find out at the end of that same book. But I really like that you're still finding stuff out books down the road, questions that you had in book 1. I love that. I think it brings like the series together as a whole, even though I just started book 3, but I'm really excited for it. So yeah. These questions and plot holes set you up perfectly in book 1, for book 2, and even the 35 pages into book 3 that I'm in, because yeah, it sets you up so perfectly. Like, she did such a good job. She's masterful at it. I adore that kind of writing. And all I'm gonna say now is that I was smitten with this series. So I hope you like this review, and I would love to know your comments. If you've already read this book and you did reviews on Goodreads and we're friends on Goodreads, there's a pretty good chance I already read your review. But yes, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you're continuing on with the series, if you're caught up and you're just waiting for the new book, stuff like that. But yeah, let me know if you agreed or disagreed with anything that I said nicely. Be nice. Because I'm legitimately curious about what you guys all think, especially if you haven't written a review on Goodreads or if we're not, for some reason, friends on Goodreads. Also, you can find my link to my Goodreads down below. If you're not friends with me, be friends with me. Friend me, okay? And yeah, I will also link my Twitter, where I'm very active, and also my Instagram, because yeah. I hope you enjoyed this book review. It's only my second one, so if you hated it, I'm still practicing. But yeah, with all the love, bye!